Hi guys, Mr. Smith here. Okay, today I'm going to show you how to make a chocolate Yule log for Christmas. Love this festive time of year. Okay, so to start off with, you need 85 grams of caster sugar. That needs to go straight into your bowl. Okay, it has to be caster sugar for the sponge to work properly. Then you're going to need 3 large eggs. Okay, I'm just going to put it all in the bowl together, and then you're going to whisk it for about 8 minutes until it goes really thick and pale. Okay. Okay, when it's finished, you can take your mixer out, and if you get yourself a spoon, you should be able to lift it up, and it's quite heavy and leaves a trail when you put it back in, like that. It should be really airy and foamy almost. Okay guys, so now we're going to finish making our sponge. So we've got our eggy mixture here, all ready to go. Now you're going to add 85 grams of plain flour. You haven't got to sift it in, but just put it in really lightly. Okay. We're then going to add half a teaspoon of baking powder and 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder. Then you're going to mix all of that in, but you're going to fold it in really gently because we do not want the air to escape from our mix. So folding is where we go around in our circle motion and then through the middle. Okay? So make sure that we do it really gently, and as you do it you'll see that your sponge starts to turn all chocolatey. Nice. Okay? And as you do it you'll see little pockets of flour. That's what we don't want. So that as you mix it, you'll see those pockets start to go into the sponge. Okay, this bit can take a little bit of time, but just be really gentle, don't rush it. Because if we rush this part, that will destroy our sponge, and we don't want that. Okay, and then when you mix it, and you can't see any flour rippling through it, because you've mixed it all in, but it should still be nice and airy and thick, that's when you know it's ready to go into the tin. You need your tray. It should be about 20 by 30 centimetres. Doesn't matter if it's a little bit over or under, okay? Just change the shape slightly, but that'll be fine. You need 1 sheet of greaseproof paper that is just over the size of your tray. If you do it like I've done it, and it's slightly a bit too over, okay, that's fine. You can just fold the ends. Everyone forgets that you can just fold the ends over. No need to throw that bit away. Okay, push it into the corners especially to make sure you've got it in that tin. Okay, nice. And then you can just leave it there. And then we're going to pour really carefully and close to your tin. You're going to pour in your mixture. The reason we do it really close to the tin is because if you drop it from a great height, it's going to lose a lot of the air as it hits the tin. And we don't want that to happen. So carefully, okay, make sure you've got all that mixture in the bottom. Which reminds me a bit like chocolate mousse when it's like this. And then we're just going to lift it up. Make sure it's all in the tin. And don't worry about spreading it out just yet, we'll do that in a minute. Make sure we get it all in. Okay, so now, really carefully, we're just going to smooth it out so that it fills our tray. If you've got a slightly bigger tray, still make sure that you smooth it to the edges, because you don't want to, it needs to be a rectangle, you don't want it to be an odd shape. Okay, doesn't matter if it's a little bit of a thicker or thinner sponge, but you need to make sure that it goes right to the ends. And then it will look just like that. There we go. And then we're going to pop it into our oven. Our oven needs to be on 180 fan, or 200 if you've got an older convection one. Okay, and that's going to go in for 10 minutes. Okay? There we go. Now make sure you set a timer for 10 minutes. It might be a little bit more or less depending on your size of tray. Make sure you keep an eye on it because it's not very long. Okay, when it's ready, you'll take it out of the oven. Be really careful because it's obviously going to be hot. So use oven gloves, obviously a tea towel if that's all you've got. then it should have puffed up nicely. The first thing you have to do is get another piece of baking paper, slightly bigger than the one you done originally. Then really carefully, touching just the paper, not the tin, because it's hot. Okay, the paper isn't hot, the tin is very hot. You're going to just turn it straight over onto the new piece. Okay, just upside down onto it. Then really, really carefully, you're going to peel off the older paper that's still on the sponge. And this is something you have to be really, really careful with, because you do not want to tear your cake when it's just come out of the oven. That would ruin it. And you've all spent so much time making it already. Okay, so just really carefully, because it's very, very gentle. And when it's warm, it's even more gentle and easier to break. There we go. That can go in our bin. Then, really carefully, we roll up our cake. Really carefully. Nice and tight, but we just do it carefully. And then we pop it to one side. I sometimes put something on each side just to hold it there in place, so it doesn't unravel. And that can cool, and then we're all good. Okay guys, so now we're going to make our filling. Okay, we're going to use something called a bain-marie, which is where you put a bowl over some boiling water. Okay, the bowl should never touch the water. Okay, and it just gently heats something. Okay, to make our filling, you need 200 grams of icing sugar, one 284 milliliter pot of extra thick cream. That's just the general size of a pot. Okay, then you need 50 grams of butter, 140 grams of plain or dark chocolate. I know some of you might not like it, but we're going to add butter and things and cream to it, so it won't taste like dark chocolate afterwards. Okay, and you're going to need some golden syrup, but we only need 1 tablespoon. Okay, if you haven't got any golden syrup, it's not going to change it too much. First thing you need to do is we're going to add our butter to our bain-marie, our bowl, and our chocolate. Okay, now I've got my bowl on the highest setting, okay, and I'm going to use a wooden spoon, okay, to gently mix it, and it won't take as long as you think, okay, it will not take long at all, okay. My pan isn't bubbling just yet, okay, but that's perfect because we want to heat it gently, okay. If it's going crazy, it might make our bowl too hot, and that's not what we want, okay. So it's just nice and gently, and you can already see the butter starting to melt because it's getting around the sides of the bowl. We're just going to leave it there gently, okay. You need a new bowl and your cream, okay. You're going to put 5 tablespoons of your cream into a separate bowl. Okay, those 5 we're going to put in our filling in a minute, okay, and the rest is for the inside, that nice cream that goes in the roll. Okay, so we're just going to put that to one side. Now, this should start to melt, and it won't take too long, so you just have to be gentle with it, and it will just start to turn automatically. It starts to get to the right temperature, and then it will just go. Okay, so you just have to keep mixing it, and it won't take too long. Okay, so now it should be lovely and glossy, and if I pick it up and show you, it's proper like liquid gold. It's lovely. Okay, so what we're going to do is just make sure that's proper mixed and there's no lumps of chocolate or butter in there at all, which mine is perfect. Okay, so we're going to put it onto the worktop now, okay? Leave your pan where it is, but make sure you turn it off, okay? Don't want to leave it on. Okay, so now we just leave this on nice cool worktop. Don't worry, this isn't going to burn anything, okay, because this hasn't got too hot. Okay, it's only been just in the steam, okay? Give it a mix on the top, on the bottom, to make sure that the chocolate on the bottom doesn't cool too quickly, okay? Then what we're going to do is we're going to add the 5 tablespoons of cream that we measured out earlier, straight in there. 1 tablespoon of golden syrup. Oh, golden syrup's one of those things that weirds me out. So gloopy. There. Then you have to use your finger for this bit. Straight into the bowl. Just like that. Don't need that spoon anymore. And then we're going to give it a nice mix. Now it's all melted, so there shouldn't be too hard because that cream will melt as well now, and that golden syrup will melt in. So you just need to give it a nice mix in. And this bit doesn't take too long, okay? It's already starting to go a little bit thicker and glossier, okay? Because that cream will make it go even glossier, okay? And it will take away some of the darkness of that chocolate, which is why I said, please use dark chocolate, even if you think you don't like it, because it will not taste like dark chocolate at the end. And it's got more cocoa in dark chocolate, that's why we use it. You can tell that there's no lumps in it, that's when it's ready. So if you lift it up, it should now fall off, but coat your spoon nicely. And you should be able to mix it and there's no lump. Well, you can always give it a swirl and you know it's ready because it's just velvety. Okay, you're going to need a sieve now, okay, on top of your bowl, and you're going to put your icing sugar. Okay, so it should be 200 grams into the sieve. Make sure that it goes into the sieve and not over the sides, because we don't want lumps of icing sugar in this, okay? And then it shouldn't take too long just to quickly sieve it in. Okay, and I love all the dust. Oh, it's like snow in this time of year. Christmas. Oh, amazing. And sometimes when you get to the end and you get these lumps in your sieve that just won't go anywhere, just use a fork. Okay? Still, as long as it goes through the sieve, it's fine. So just use a fork to push it all through. Just bang the sides again, and it will go in seconds. A lot of people think that their icing sugar has gone off if there's lumps, if it's lumpy. It's just where the moisture's got to it, but it will still go through your sieve. Now you're going to use a whisk for this. If you've got a super duper KitchenAid machine, you can use that as well, obviously, but I'm just doing it like this to show that everyone can do it. Okay, so you can use a hand whisk if that's what you've got, and you're going to whisk in that icing sugar. To start with, go really slowly, okay? If you go fast, icing sugar will go everywhere. That's not what we want. Okay, so go slowly to start with, and it will start to combine in with that chocolate. Okay, and as the icing sugar starts to disappear, because it's in the mix, you can go slightly fast. Okay, because you know you've got nothing to get it. Okay, so you'll see it will look like this. It will start to go velvety. It might be that you can still see the little sugar granules. That means you need to mix harder. Okay, so keep going. Keep going, keep mixing, okay? It won't take too long because everything's nice and warm and melted. The sugar should just dissolve, okay? And it makes an almost, oh, it's like a ganache, but it's always something different, this. Okay, so you should have these three things. Our leftover cream that we didn't use in this, our filling, okay? Nice and thick now, it's starting to cool down, which is what we want. Okay, look, it sticks to the whisk, that's what you want. Try and bang it back the whisk. Oh, try and make sure that it doesn't go everywhere. Put that to one side, and then we want our sponge, okay? So now, oh, this is the bit that I always get panicky about. So, we have to unravel our sponge, okay? So, do it almost opposite to the way that you rolled it up. So, flip it backwards, and then unravel it. Now, you might have some tears in it, but that's fine, okay? It happens to everyone, happens to me. I bet you it's happened here somewhere, okay? It doesn't look too bad at the moment, but I'm sure there is a couple tears on the other side, okay? But that is what it will be like. That is like a Swiss roll. It's fine. If it curls up at the ends, leave it like that, okay? That's fine, because we're going to roll it back up afterwards. So, first thing you need is your cream for the inside. Love a cream filling. If you can't, or if you don't want cream on the inside, you could use more of the chocolate, okay? So make twice as it. You can make some chocolate buttercream or vanilla buttercream. You can make literally whatever you want, okay? I just use the traditional one, which is to use extra thick cream, okay? So we're just going to pop it on the inside. Okay, and we have to be careful because if you spread it with a bit too much might, you might rip your sponge, and we don't want to do that. So I hold it by the paper, don't hold it by the sponge, because then it might tear. Hold the sponge by the paper and just gently spread it out. I always use a spatula or something like that, okay? You can get proper cake spatulas, okay? If some of you are into your baking, you might have something like that, okay? And just spread it out. It shouldn't be too thick, okay? Because as you roll it up, it will bunch up anyway, okay? So we just need to cover the whole sponge. And don't worry if it doesn't go right to the ends, okay? Because we're probably going to chop the ends off anyway to make it look nice. Okay, once you've got it all nice and spread out, now we're going to roll it up again, okay? Don't worry about this bit, okay? Everyone worries about it, it's fine. I've done this with my year 10s, okay? They worried about this, but it's fine, okay? So this little bit that's already folded, we're just going to push that right over, okay? Because that's our inside, our first little flap. Then grab your paper from underneath, and then you're going to lift it up and roll it. Grab the paper, and you should be able to almost do it in one go. And just lift the paper and fold it right over, okay? And once you get to the end, the paper should just come off. Now you might have some little cracks in it, but that's fine because we're going to put our filling on now. So now we're going to grab a plate, really carefully. We don't want to make any more cracks or ruin it anymore, so we just pop it on there, nice and gently. Now, if you didn't like the filling, you could just eat it like that, but I love a bit of chocolate, and that's the proper way to do it. So grab a spoon, okay, and this should, even though it's thickened up, it should be nice and easy to smooth out, okay? So we're going to pour it all right into the middle on top. Okay, right into the middle. Okay, you might want to do it like half on, spread it out a little bit. And this bit, you can take your time. I'm probably going to do it quite quick, just for the video, okay? And you want a nice even covering, okay? You might not use all of the filling. It looks like I'm probably going to need to use all of it to make sure that I cover it up. You want to cover the ends as well, okay? Always put it on top and then smooth it down to the sides. Okay, don't pick it up and try and just slap it on, because it's not going to work. Trust me, I've made hundreds and hundreds of these. It doesn't work, so you have to put it on top and smooth it down the sides. Sometimes it starts to come undone if you've got a big crack, but do not worry, okay? I'm lucky it hasn't happened with this one, okay, but sometimes it will. So what you need to do, once it's all covered, I'm not going to use this plate once it's finished, this is just to finish making it. So, you use a fork, okay, and run down the edges and take off any of the excess that you don't need, and it also gives you the nice Yule Loggy pattern that we all like. And we all know. Oh, it's supposed to look a bit like a tree log, I suppose. That's why it's called a Yule log. And you might think that it's lost some of that glossiness that you had when you made the filling, but that's only because it's starting to melt again, because you've been working it. Okay, so once it's done, we're going to pop it in the fridge. You're going to leave it for, I would say, about a good hour at least. So I'm just going to finish it off with a little bit of icing sugar. Okay, and here is how we would make one chocolate Yule log for Christmas.